was a whole day. And even the 4-year-old sat there chiseling away, and then at one point she looked at me and she said, "It's your turn," because she was done. But then when they gave them modeling, they had to put them on the little skeletons they dug out to bring them back to life. She sat there. And it was really, yes. Yes, it was incredible. I recommend that to anybody with children.
I haven't seen all the outfields.
Yeah, and then, after it sits around it for a while, it'll harden, and then they've got real color dinosaurs, but,
That's really interesting. I've seen the digging and stuff. That's cool.
I did, and she did go some on the way back home, so come back and get it done.
Well, that's always a fun.
The 4-year-old, yes. There's always workarounds, because she doesn't always take naps anymore.
I don't know.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for being here this evening. This is the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, to be held May 2nd, 2023 at 6 p.m. Let's ask our clerk, please, to take the roll.
Councilmember DeWillis.
Here.
Councilmember Duvernay.
Here.
Councilmember Karat.
Present.
Councilmember Naren.
Here.
Vice Mayor Wilden.
Here.
And Mayor Linsky.
Here. Thank you. Can everybody hear us okay back there? Okay, we have the fans on to keep air circulating, so we'll speak more clearly into our microphone for you. Okay, next, please stand to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next on the agenda is a brief summary of current events by the mayor, city council, and/or city manager. The public body does not propose, discuss, deliberate, or take legal action on any matter brought up during this summary unless the specific matter is properly noticed for legal action. Council members, do we have anything to report? No? Okay. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, Mayor, Council. I've got a few items here. In the coming weeks, the police department will go live with SpiderTech, an enhanced victim notification software. The software will provide automated text message and email correspondence for victims of crime. The goal of the program is to increase connectivity and provide useful and consistent information to those the department serves. Funding for this program was made possible from Arizona Senate Bill 1712, available to municipalities around the state. May is National Water Safety Month. National Water Safety Month is an annual awareness program coordinated by the Pool and Tub Alliance with support from the American Red Cross, World Water Park Association, and the National Recreation and Parks Association. With summer approaching, the Cottonwood Parks and Rec Department will be sharing a weekly water safety tip to assist in raising awareness to help keep you and your families safe this summer season. Join us on Friday, May 5th, for an increasingly popular jail, trail, and interpretive hike. Meet at 10 a.m. at the trail in Old Town and enjoy an approximately 20-minute hike led by the train coordinator, Joe. If you have any questions, please call 928-639-3200. Also join the Cottonwood, the Greater Cottonwood Area Chamber of Commerce for an Economic Outlook Luncheon on Tuesday, May the 9th at the Cottonwood Community Clubhouse. Enjoy a lunch catered by the Colt Grill and a presentation to help you prepare for the second half of the year with economic insights and marketing guidance. Visit cottonwoodchamberaz.org to sign up today. If you'd like to learn the facts behind housing in Cottonwood and the Verde Valley, then consider signing up for our upcoming Lunch and Learn presentation on Wednesday, May 17th, hosted by the City and the Chamber at the Riverfront Water Reclamation Facility. Food will be catered in by Red Rooster Cafe. Limited space is available, and you must register to attend. Visit cottonwoodchamberaz.org to sign up today. The City of Cottonwood is partnering to help organize this year's Verde Valley Wine Festival. Join us May the 20th at Riverfront Park for a day full of wine, food, and song. We look forward to hosting this event and welcoming visitors from near and far. Visit VerdeValleyWineFestival.com for tickets and more information. And lastly, the Verde Valley Fair is returning to the fairgrounds from May 3rd through the 7th. Enjoy rides, games, live entertainment, vendors, rodeo, and so much more. Visit VerdeValleyFair.com for more information. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Great, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is call to the public. This portion of the agenda is set aside for the public to address the council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda for discussion. However, the council cannot engage in discussion regarding any item that is not officially listed on the agenda for discussion and/or action, and comments are limited to a 3-minute time period. So there are yellow forms in the back to fill out. They look like this. I received a handful up here. So we'll go ahead and call people up. Our Vice Mayor is going to try out a new piece of technology this evening. It's a timer. It'll give you a little bit of an opportunity to see how much time you have left. And I think it'll beep at the end of your time as well. But anyway, we like to keep it to 3 minutes so everybody has a fair chance at addressing our council. So I think you all know the drill here. I'm going to call you up one by one, and I'll queue up the next person in line after you come up to the podium. So first up is Scott Murray, and after Scott, we'll have Michael Nacito.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate the opportunity to come and speak before you tonight. And as always, my prayer is that God's word would soften your hearts and that you would follow his ways instead of your own. I'm going to read from Genesis 27, and it talks about how God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, speaking of Adam. Male and female, he created them. So we see that God only created two sexes, regardless of what our society wants to try and twist things into. So then I'm going to go to Genesis 6 verse 5, I'm sorry. And it says that then the Lord saw the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and this was prior to Noah's flood. And he said that the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent and thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. The Lord said that I will blot man out whom I've created from the face of the land, from man to animals and creeping things and birds of the sky, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah had found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So we know that Noah and his family were the only ones that survived, along with the animals that went on the ark. So God was grieved at what he saw man doing because he saw it was continually evil. So we know that in society, they try to conform things to their own wishes. We have the moral and the written law that tells us how to behave. And we have laws like Ordinance 401 that you've chosen to ignore. You claim that you don't know about it or that you're ignorant of it, but you know that ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. So I implore you to, 1, believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and also read your law so you know what you're breaking.
Mr. Nacito, you're up next, and you'll be followed by Barbara Pawlowski.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, good evening. I want to start off by reading City Code 2.08.110, referring to City Council meetings and agendas. Part A says, prior to each council meeting, agenda items shall be given to the city clerk. The city clerk, manager, and mayor shall meet prior to the council meeting to review the agenda. The mayor may decide and add items to the agenda. The mayor may delete or add items to the agenda as at his or her discretion, except those items specifically requested to be placed on the council agenda by 2 or more council members. Back in, I'm going to take a little history lesson here. Back in 2001, Councilwoman Nairn and Councilwoman Curot co-sponsored the Bill of Rights Sanctuary City resolution that eventually passed 4-3 in this council chambers. It was something I thought should have slam dunked in about 10 minutes, being that we just pledged allegiance to the flag and you have all been taken an oath to serve the Constitution of the United States and the state of Arizona. It took 6 weeks and 3 council meetings to eventually end up with a 4-3 vote. And the 3 people that voted no rationalized it by saying, one said she felt threatened by the veterans that proposed the proposal. Another one felt like they didn't want to remove the possibility of all the federal monies that the city gets for the operating expenses. And the third person changed the definition of sanctuary to mean a hideout for criminals. So my point in this is that we're here asking for you to agendize an item addressing drag queen events as an adult-only event. We've asked that for, this will be our 6th meeting now, and it's yet to be on the agenda. We want you to discuss it openly. We want you to accept public input to that discussion and then openly take a vote in front of the community. Whether you vote yes or no, the voting community wants to know your position on this. We filled rooms with 200, 185. You've brought us to this tiny little room now to where people feel, they drive by and they think, well, it's full and I'm going to go home. So you're manipulating the playing field, so to speak, because we had 200 people coming if we were in the rec room. So congratulations on that gamesmanship. But we just want to hear you discuss this openly and have an open vote. And if you shoot it down, you shoot it down. But if it passes, it passes. And that's all we're asking for. Thank you.
Barbara Pawlowski, you're up next, and you'll be followed by Bruce Pawlowski.
Same last name, yes. So Mayor, I'll make this very simple. I'm here because we have all heard about how you do not represent the citizens here. You don't really care about ordinances and following them. I'm here to ask you to resign, to do the respectful thing, and let us have someone in your position who really represents us and cares what we think. You told us in a recent meeting you don't know much about 401, which the gentleman before me has mentioned. 401 is a very comprehensive ordinance about adult entertainment. It would have taken care of this idiot drag queen thing that you approved right away. You violated the ordinance part that talks about distance between a bar and adult entertainment. That was 500 feet. You were way in that, like 50 feet away. That violated the ordinance. And also, as the gentleman before me mentioned, you don't follow your own codes and guidelines about council members. 2 of your council members, as he said, did ask you to put the drag queen show on the agenda as far as children attending were concerned. You did not do that. We have the FOIA records. We know it was turned down. It was just totally ignored. So I'm asking you to resign. Do the right thing. That's all I have to say.
Bruce Pawlowski, you're up next. You'll be followed by Sharon Bonney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I too am reiterating what my wife just mentioned. I think the mayor should resign because you don't follow the law of the city. It's quite evident by reading 401. Now, someone's going to go back and say it's a family-oriented show. Who defined that? Not you, not the council, the people who wanted to put it on. If you look at society today, every evaluation of these shows, it is adult-oriented or it is grooming children. We can't have that in this town, and frankly, I don't think any council member should support it. And if they do, shame on you. You disobey. Let's go another track. Years ago, we had performers doing blackface. That was considered quite okay back then. But if we look at that today, that was discrimination against our minorities. We're doing the same thing with these idiots acting as women. They are demeaning our women. And years from now, we're going to look back and say, that was discriminating against women. We cannot allow that. We should not allow it. And frankly, you should have allowed, because I've read all the FOIA information. Your city attorney knows all about 401k because he signed it, or the ordinance 401. So he should have been advising you to go by the rules. Freedom of freedom of information, thank you, is wrong. Because in the state of Arizona, there are statutes that override your freedom to speak. And that is when it overrides children's rights. Children's rights take priority. And I have to bring that to your attention. Thank you all for your time.
All right, Sharon Bonney, you're up next, and you'll be followed by John Mitchell.
Good evening. What is the definition of family friendly? How do you decide to label an event family friendly and thereby allow children to the event? We need to know where the definition is and your procedure for deciding if children are allowed to attend an event. If the dancing men at a show were to claim to be black people and had black makeup on their face, black hair, calling themselves black, would you allow them to perform at the Cottonwood Clubhouse? Why do you allow biological gender to be appropriated in your public buildings and not biological race? We know you have to talk with the ACLU, but they don't protect women, and they should. These men at the drag show are teaching the children that being a woman means whatever you think it means. Wearing high heels, a long wig, lipstick, swishing your hips. They are teaching the children that being a female and a woman has nothing to do with being of the nature to carry the life of another soul in her body. Whether a woman does that or not, she is of the nature to. It's beautiful. Being a woman and female has nothing to do with the science of pharmaceuticals, nor surgery, nor with clothes, nor with what one claims. I don't wear a dress, or leotard, or lipstick, or makeup. I don't have long hair or wear high heels like the men impersonating women at the drag shows. I am a woman and female because the science of biology informs that I am a woman and female. It is wrong for men to appropriate my biological gender, just as it is wrong for someone to appropriate someone else's biological race. Leave the children out of the appropriation of what is not one's own. Let the children have a period of innocence. Thank you for listening.
John Mitchell, you're up next, and you'll be followed by Randy Burdette.
Mayor, Council, Interim City Manager, and the public. Mr. Mayor, these remarks and questions will be primarily addressed to you. As I did in the previous session at the 10 o'clock meeting on 4/25, okay? I too want to ask, why are we not on the agenda still? Which brings me to some questions I have. You have been repeatedly, by too many local residents to ask, put this matter on the agenda for an open and honest discussion. You've also been asked previously by 2 council members to put it on the agenda back on February 23rd. According to Cottonwood's Code of Ordinance, the mayor may delete and add items to the agenda on his or her discretion, except those items specifically requested to be placed on the council agenda by 2 or more council members. As Mr. Nacito already mentioned, you didn't follow the ordinances. So what's going on with you? I know you can't answer conveniently. Did I not ask you on 4/25 if you had a request by at least 2 council members on February 23rd, specifically ask you to put it on the agenda? Do you recall how you answered? I know you can't answer. I'll help you. Okay, you said, I don't know that. I had not seen anything on that. That's not the truth. Why'd you lie about such a simple question? Further, on 425, I asked you if you had knowledge or had seen the Cottonwood Ordinance 401. That ordinance clearly spells out, literally, what you can and cannot do by allowing related activities such as these, and it's all been violated by your actions and leadership, poor leadership. You know the one thing I mentioned previously in the last city council meeting on 4/18, you said I have not. I then said, I find it odd since since I brought this up in a public meeting, you would have done your due diligence as the mayor and leader and looked it up and to see if the references and accusations I were making were true. Surely I would have. I then gave you a copy of the ordinance for your review, and then you began to argue about it. Mr. Horton, the city attorney, recent city attorney, signed that document, and he agreed with it. You're not following your own ordinances. That issue alone, by your own words in response to him, Mr. Hall, by the way, which you stated in a letter, you were in favor of going forward with the plans, and I quote, these are your words, like I said, I'd be more than happy to meet with you and to scale back the other participants. If it's just you and me discussing this, all the better. That's what you said.
Mr. Mitchell, your time is
That's
up.
collusion, right? Okay, I'm gonna ask.
Mr.
or
Mitchell, your time's up.
Point out or demand your resignation.
Randy Burdette, you're up next, and you'll be followed by Dale Casey.
I thank the City Council for allowing us to speak here today for the 7th call to the public in a row. In anticipation of repeated common arguments from those who oppose us, I will repeat some of what I've written before in past meetings. It's been said that these drag shows are family friendly, yet Christopher J. Hall was doing sexual dances like the Spread Eagle in the All Ages Tour in Lake Havasu, Arizona last February. The only reason he didn't do the same this time, as far as I know, is because he has been telling everyone to tone down the dancing because it's been getting a lot of attention. I don't believe that Chris had a change of heart since the first show in Lake Havasu and the last one, which was in the city. Performers whose performances are adult-oriented 100% of the time, or the majority of the time, are considered to be adult entertainers, right? Why would anyone want adult entertainers in their adult entertainment costumes to entertain kids by dancing around? If this is okay for children, then why shouldn't strippers be allowed to dance for them as long as they tone down their dancing and aren't nude? They are adult entertainers like drag queens, after all. To define drag in a very broad way, like many supporters of drag shows for kids, is to render the meaning of drag meaningless. If almost everything is drag when it comes to men dressing up as women for theater, films, and performances, then drag means nothing at all, much like the reimagining of the term women. I hear these all-ages drag shows are about supporting trans and gay rights, the First Amendment, Constitution, equity, which is equality of outcome and requires a centralized economy where the state owns the means of production and all resources when fully realized and implemented in a society. I also hear that it's for children to learn diversity, to represent over 8 million genders somehow. Parental rights, that opposition is all about religious views and fears, bullying, etc. But including minors and children in shows with adult entertainers has nothing to do with any of that. People have further said that this is not political. Yet the Verde Valley Democrats have sponsored and supported this past April 8th event. What we oppose as a majority has nothing to do with hate or bigotry, no matter what anyone says. Some have brought up the April 8th demonstration and painting them as a group of aggressive and violent extremists, even though the group chanting and everyone else didn't go beyond what most left-wing demonstrators do on a peaceful day. In closing, I implore the City Council to add this issue to the agenda and add age restrictions to shows including adult entertainers at the very least in city public buildings, or even disallow any sort of event that has adult entertainers in them. Hopefully we can all have a civil discussion on this together. Thank you.
Okay. Dale Casey, you're up next.
Good evening. I just want to have my opposition to the drag shows in public buildings entered into the record. I think it was a travesty what has gone on in the last few months on this issue. The fact that it was never brought to the agenda is criminal. The fact that there were 2 city council members that requested it be on the agenda, and you, Mayor, shot it down with 200 people in the audience. That is a crime, and I request that you resign because of your lack of following all the rules. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the work sessions of March 14th and April 11th, 2023, and the regular meeting of April 4th, 2023, and all motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion, Councilmember Karat seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Next is unfinished business, just one item this evening. It's ordinance number 734, amending the zoning map to change from AR20, agricultural residential, to PAD, planned area development for approximately 8.3 acres located at 1875 Mayberry Ranch Road. And this is the second and final reading.
Mayor and Council, traditionally we don't have opposition to items such as this, but in this particular case, we've had a couple of comments, and we have Tina here to answer any questions. I believe you may already have all of the different notes that were sent over, as well as emails. So if you have any questions, Tina will be answering those.
Okay, well, we did receive letters, three letters specifically, and then there is one person in the audience tonight that did fill out a form to speak. Tara Lynn Green, you're more than welcome to come up.
Hi, my name is Terry Lynn Green. I've been a resident of the Verde Valley for 36 years, 17 years as a property owner just outside the city limits of Cottonwood. My education and career has been in Parks and Recreation Management. My work experience was all about working on the lands surrounding Sedona. So I saw Sedona go from a quaint, peaceful community to a frenetic, crowded, congested town. And I really don't want to see Cottonwood become that kind of a town. I retired 3 years ago, and every day I walk at Dead Horse Ranch State Park. When it's too crowded at the park, I go walking along the trails that are adjacent to Blazing Ranch. Well, I was really appalled. I was so busy walking the trails, I wasn't catching up on what was going on with y'all. I was really surprised and disappointed to hear that the plans are proposing 65 rooms to support tourists that will translate to between probably an average of 200 visitors a day, plus all of the day use visitors at Blazing M. And these people are not going to just stay on those 8.3 acres at Blazing M. Those people are going to overflow into the state parklands. That's what my experience tells me. There will be a spider web of social trails going out on the state land park. There will be people that are just got married at the Blazing M, wanting to have their photos taken at the beautiful lagoons. It will add to the congestion of traffic on the 10th Street. And then there's the possibility of a sewage issue since Blazing M is in a floodplain. So the planned area development, PAD, is rezoning, or the anything goes zoning, as I call it, sets a very bad precedent for the Verde River corridor. But I understand that y'all have done a lot of work in preparation to pass this rezoning. And so if you do make that decision, please include stipulations that the parking be required to be on the private property, not rely on the leased state land property, and maybe even use a shuttle going to the private property or other than other than using state land or city park land for their overflow parking. Also, that I would stipulate that they require a hookup to the sewer system rather than using septic.
Thank you, Ms. Green. All right, I know we have the developer here this evening as well as Ms. Hayden. Do we have any questions, council, for Ms. Hayden?
Are they going to have any shuttles like they've started to do in Sedona?
Can you just speak more clearly into your mic? That's all right.
Are they going to be having shuttles like they do in Sedona?
Mayor Alinsky, Councilmember Duvernay, that was not proposed in the master development plan. I believe previous the commission meeting, it was asked and recommended to consider. So I will leave it to the applicant to answer if they've taken that into consideration.
And then can you go into some more detail on that agreement with state parks? Because I know that, well, first I know this has been in the works for a number of years, even under the prior ownership. They had planned to do something very similar to what is proposed now. But that parcel of land that state parks owns, can you talk to us a little bit more about that agreement that's in place?
Mayor Alinsky, I will have the applicant come up because they have not provided evidence that there is an agreement. It is just a stipulation that will require that before they get certificate of occupancy.
Okay. Let's go ahead and bring up the developer then. Good evening.
My name is Ryan again. I'm the owner of the Blazing M Ranch. So we will not be having shuttles. There won't be probably a need for that. We have been in coordination with George Christensen over at Dead Horse Ranch State Park, and we do have a limited agreement right now with them currently for overflow parking. However, we have the required amount of parking for our development on our PAD. So there's not the parking that is additionally needed for overflow events. Let's say if we had a community event, that's when we need overflow parking. But for the actual rooms, the 66 rooms, we have the parking required for the development.
Okay. And so I know this agreement's been in place for a long time with Dead Horse Ranch and the Mayberries before for that overflow parking. What has it been used for in the past?
So right now, it's only been used for overflow parking.
But are there particular events where it has been used that you're aware of?
No. We are responsible for clearing it and mowing it, and we pay a fee to Dead Horse Ranch State Park. That goes to conservation efforts and to keeping the park going.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions while we have the applicant up?
The concern was brought up about hooking up to the sewer system because you are in a floodplain, so that does kind of make sense. Is there a further idea to do that?
So we have worked with city utilities, and the Mayberries also worked on an intergovernmental agreement, both with state parks and I believe it was county almost before city, to try and get the hookup from Blazing M Ranch to Dead Horse. It took 5.5 years to get that IGA done, and then it still doesn't name Blazing M Ranch on the IGA. So there was like a misstep in there. So our concern as developers are that working with intergovernmental agencies, it's going to take another 5.5 years to get that hookup. We're not putting the septic in the floodway. Okay, and we are following all ADEQ requirements with Yavapai Health Department. So we cannot put, just like someone out in city of Cottonwood could dig a septic tank very low near the water plane. Okay, we're held to the same standards that any property owners in city of Cottonwood are held to. So we can't do any septic system that's like funny business. That isn't already tested and coordinated with Yavapai County.
Does that answer your concerns? Yeah. Okay. I was concerned too about the sewer. I wish that I thought that there was an easement and agreements already in place to pipe everything over, but I think Mr. Sefton explained at the last meeting that wasn't quite the case, so. Okay, anything else, council? No? Okay, thank you. All right, I would entertain a motion. Under unfinished business. I'll go ahead and motion to approve ordinance number 734.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion, Vice Mayor seconded it. Let's have a roll call vote on this, please.
Councilmember DeWillis,
Yes.
Councilmember Duvernay,
Yes.
Councilmember Karat,
Yes.
Councilmember Naren,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilden,
Yes.
and Mayor Linsky,
Yes.
and the motion carries.
Okay, let's have you read ordinance number 734 by title only, please.
Ordinance number 734, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending the zoning map of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona for a parcel of land, APN 406-36-007Q, so as to change certain district boundaries and classifications thereof from the present zoning designation of AR20, agricultural residential, to PAD, planned area development.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence. There's 4 items this evening under consent. First up is resolution numbers 3172 and 3173, reappointment of Debbie Garrison and David Collins to the Historic Preservation Commission. Item 2 is a request for approval for extension of intergovernmental agreement for joint funding of a Verde Valley housing manager. Item 3 is a request for approval of a 1-year lease extension for the Old Town Jail building with Sandy Brown, DBA Seeds Natural Fiber Clothing. And fourth item is resolution number 3175, sale of city-owned property located at 906 North 2nd Street. Is there an item that a council member or a citizen would like to have pulled from the consent? Okay, I'll motion to approve. All right, Mayor made the motion, Vice Mayor seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved. Let's get our clerk to read resolutions number 3172, 3173, and 3175 by title only, please.
Resolution number 3172, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, appointing Debbie Garrison, a member of the city's Historic Preservation Commission, and establishing her term of office. Resolution number 3173, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, appointing David Collins, a member of the city's Historic Preservation Commission, and establishing his term of office. And resolution number 3175, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, authorizing the sale of certain real property to Douglas L. Bartosh individually and Lisa A. Quam individually, and authorizing and directing the mayor, city manager, and city attorney to take all actions necessary to complete the transaction.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, new business. Following items are for council discussion, consideration, and possible legal action. First up is interview of Historic Preservation Commission applicants.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Amanda Wilbur, HR Director. We currently have 3 open seats on the Historic Preservation Commission. 2 need to be filled by residents of the incorporated city of Cottonwood, which we just filled that on the consent agenda this evening. And the remaining 1 seat can be filled by a non-resident of the incorporated city limit, within the incorporated city limits. I apologize. So tonight we have 2 applicants, both of whom reside outside the city limits, who will be interviewing for this 1 Historic Preservation Commission seat. Because we have 2 applicants for 1 position, we did go through the blind review process that has been completed up until this point, and now both applicants, Nicole Bonnet and Raymond Mossy, are with you this evening to interview. At the conclusion of the interview at this meeting, we will add the scores from the interview tonight and the blind review process and bring back to you a recommendation to appoint the top scoring applicant.
Okay.
So unless there are any questions for myself, I will turn it back to you for the interviews.
Great. Any questions, council? No? All right, let's go ahead and bring up our applicants then, and we'll have Nicole Bonnet come up first. Nicole, are you with us? No? Is she outside by chance? Probably not.
I did not speak with her this evening, but she
Okay.
had confirmed previously that she was going to be here.
Okay.
So if council wishes, I can reach back out to her and see if she would like to come to the next meeting.
Yeah, let's get her back in here.
Okay, thank
And
you.
then Raymond Mossy, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Come on up. How are you?
Good, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Vice Mayor, chamber members, my name is Ray Mossy, Mossey. I live at 1251 South Settler Circle East, just off First Street up by the airport.
Thank you for applying. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
You're becoming a frequent flyer.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
We appreciate that. So we have just a handful of questions for you. If you don't mind, we'll get started. And then, like Ms. Wilbur said, we won't make a decision this evening. We want to go ahead and interview that other applicant and then combine the scores and get back to you on who gets selected. But again, really appreciate you stepping up and applying for this. So please tell us why you wish to serve on the Historic Preservation Commission.
Yes, currently, well, just a brief background. I'm a military veteran. I was a police officer injured on duty in Omaha, Nebraska. Both my hips were replaced and my back was fused. I'm a former Nebraska state senator, and I also worked in recovery for 15 years, mainly with serious mental illness, co-occurring disorders, director of operations, things of that sort, things we're kind of seeing in the community right now. Currently, for the past 4.5 years, I've been serving on the Verde Valley Sanctuary Board of Directors. I'm the past president of the Board of Directors and current board vice president. And so my commitment to community, my wife is law enforcement in Sedona. That's kind of my whole family. We're law enforcement. My daughter's a social worker in Phoenix. And for me, it's everything I've been through in life, this is where I get my reward. I need to be giving back somewhere of my time and my talents and things I've learned over life. I came up pretty hard, so I got a lot to give back. So
Great. Okay. And what are your specific qualifications for the Historic Preservation Commission?
yeah, especially in the economic development, I was really amazed that I started doing a little research about the correlation between economic development and historical preservation. I think of like in Omaha, Nebraska, where I live, we have the old market area, and you have the College World Series there every year. The streets are all cobblestone, and everybody has a place they go to. I'm really impressed with the downtown area here. It's really coming along. My daughter grew up here a long time ago, and we brought her up for her birthday this weekend, took her to dinner. She came downtown. She's like, wow, it's really changed. And I was like, yeah, it really has. I appreciate how it preserves and protects neighborhoods. Everybody benefits by economic development. Nobody likes high taxes, but you need to keep it all in the community. On the sanctuary, we've bought 2 properties here in Cottonwood. We recently bought the Montessori School on 221 South Main. One of our pieces of property there has historical interest, and we're doing some stuff there. So I bring a lot of, not only from the legislature and the Senate, I passed state of my own laws. So I've been around the system quite a while as a police officer and working in recovery. I've worked with all sorts of people from the White House to homeless shelters. I've got experience in every walk of life.
Okay.
Mainly that, and I think the thing I appreciate one of the most is you have to be able to talk to people, and you have to be able to relate. Like if you're talking to people in the neighborhood as they're reading the duties that go along with it, you got to be talking to the people in the community. It's always kind of finding that common interest. That's where the conversation starts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And what do you hope to accomplish should you be appointed?
What's really kind of my heart, I don't think there's enough young people involvement in anything anymore. My son is he's in the Army, but the way I came up, I never thought there was a way out. Homeless, my junior year in high school. And I look around in the area here, and I really appreciate the mayor was out to one of our events once, 7-8 months ago. And he was talking about the city manager. He said, okay, walk through downtown. Okay, now walk a couple blocks over and tell me what do you see. And to me, that's kind of what I see around the neighborhood. I worked with boys with serious mental illness at a ranch in Prescott and Dewey. And I really appreciate the heart of trying to get more people involved, that there is a way out, but it takes special people to encourage young people. You got to be walking the walk. And to me, that's kind of where my heart is getting more, because as we see what's going on in the world right now, people are going, and the younger people aren't coming up to start taking those spots. unless they start coming up and start taking an interest in their community. So I appreciate how we did the Pledge of Allegiance before we started. That really surprised me.
All right.
So that's kind of where my heart is with the young people in the community. And
Okay. That's it. Easy questions, right?
I was not quite as nervous this time as I was last time. I don't know why I get nervous.
Well, listen, Mr. Mossy, thank you, and I appreciate you applying again too for to continue serving here in Cottonwood, and
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
recognize your past service too, and you've done a great job here. So thank you very much.
And
All
Vice
right.
Mayor members.
Thank you. Okay. And we'll bring back Nicole Bonnet at a future meeting. Okay, great. Okay, second item is request for waiver of Parks and Recreation Code Section 12.12.020, use of public parks and recreation facilities B, camping in parks and recreational facilities for the Get Out program hosted by the Cottonwood Public Library beginning on May 27th, 2023 at 4 p.m. and ending on May 28th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Jack Teal, your Parks and Recreation Director. Tonight I'm here to ask for a couple housekeeping items on a program that we've got coming up. So Parks and Recreation is collaborating with the library to bring a Get Out program to our parks. Part of that requires a waiver of our camping section of the Parks and Recreation Code. I do have Mr. Bigelow and his library staff here tonight to talk about the Get Out program. That's one of the reasons it's on as a agenda item, not on consent. We'd like to give you guys details on what that program looks like at the same time as asking for that camping waiver. So if you guys have any questions on the camping waiver, I'd happily take those. And if not, I'd like to invite Mr. Bigelow up to give you guys some input on that program.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Teal on the camping waiver this time? No? All right, let's get Mr. Bigelow up then. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Ryan Bigelow, Library Director. I've also got Danielle Avi, our Youth Services Supervisor, and Elizabeth Hansen, our Teen Library Specialist with us tonight. We're hoping, and I'm thinking I might be the first Library Director asking for a camping waiver. Thank you, Mr. Teal, for partnering with us and your team. And allow us to highlight a program that's kind of non-traditional for your libraries and not what you're thinking about when you're thinking about libraries. This is the Get Out program, which, to be clear, is short for Get Outside. We are talking about an idea that came about when last year we were able to take a group of teens to the Odyssey Aquarium down in Scottsdale. And on that commute, Elizabeth and I started talking about how do we make this more regular? How do we get our kids exposed to things outdoors, things in nature? And an opportunity came up for a grant opportunity, and we decided to jump on that. This idea also stems from the relationships our teen specialist Elizabeth has and has created with our teens. She understands kind of their struggles, and the library always wants to be a resource of any kind. And getting our kids outside, what a better resource than our natural resources and our natural environment. And we're going to try to teach them some skills to get them outside and allow that to be a resource for both their mental health and physical health. The Get Out program is grant funded by the Arizona Library Association and the Arizona Center for Rural Health. It includes 7 events, not just this camping event. We've already taken a group of teens out to ride horses for some equine therapy. Last weekend was a yoga session out in Sedona. One of the comments Elizabeth made to me earlier was that one of the participants hasn't been outside since COVID, really, a teenager. And this was the first time she'd been back, and she'd been loved the outdoors, and this reminded her how much she loved it, and this was kind of her reintroduction back outside. So I got a text from Elizabeth on Sunday saying, hey, can we stay another half an hour, please? The kids are having so much fun. It's been a huge success. So we've also got the camping. We're partnering with Parks and Rec, and Joe from Parks and Rec is going to help us with that. We're going to take the kids kayaking, hiking, Mount Humphreys potentially. We'll see how that goes. We're going to go do on a Verde Valley nature walk. And to cap it all off, we'll invite all the kids to come back to Riverfront Park for Wild in the City. That's the Arizona Elk Society putting on a conservation and outdoors event. So we'll invite them all back for that. So we're excited about doing things that are a little bit outside of your traditional library events. We're excited to help teens with their mental health. We're excited to introduce them to all that the Verde Valley has to offer. So thank you for the opportunity to talk, and hopefully the camping waiver is an okay thing.
Great. Any questions? Go ahead. Yes.
Comment.
Yeah.
Or question. Jack, don't forget the kites, just a word, kites. Okay.
I was just going to ask, how many participants are you getting? Because
So
that sounds like a lot of good stuff.
So we're capping it just based on transportation. So we're getting about 8 kids per, and then at the end, then they'll all collaborate together. So we're able to take the Parks and Rec van, and that's how many we can take to all these events. So
Great. And out of all the peaks in Arizona, why choose the highest one? Just curious.
My staff is asking me the same thing. So April was the steps challenge, and I was feeling really good about where we were at physically. Now it is no longer April, so I think we might need to revisit that. I've talked to Joe about some alternative peaks that might suit us and maybe our teams a little bit better. But I don't know. Let's shoot for the stars. Let's see what happens.
All right, very good. Okay, I don't think there's any concern at all from council on the waivers, so I'm ready for a motion. Yeah.
Okay. I move to approve a waiver of Parks and Recreation Code Section 12.12.020 USE, use, not USE, use of public parks and recreation facilities. B, camping in parks and recreation facilities for Riverfront Park beginning at 4 p.m. May 27, 2023 and ending 10 a.m. May May 28, 2023 for the Get Out program.
Second.
All right, Vice Mayor made the motion. Councilmember Karat seconded it. Let's get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember DeWillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Duvernay?
Yes.
Councilmember Karat?
Yes.
Councilmember Naren?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilden?
Yes.
And Mayor Linsky?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Great work.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have approval of amendment to agreement with Cloud IT to expand current services and authorize city manager to approve additional service hours as needed.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Kirsten Lennon, the Financial Services Director. And tonight we are asking for an amendment to our agreement with Cloud IT. Cloud IT currently provides 40 hours of service per month as a backup to our IT staff. But we are currently very short-staffed in the IT department. As a matter of fact, we are down 4 positions. So in a hope to be able to get some further service from Cloud IT, we brought back this amendment. They are going to add an additional 60 hours with this amendment per month. And this amendment also will give the interim city manager or the city manager the right to increase those hours if needed in the future to just help us until we can become fully staffed.
Okay. Council, yes?
So budget-wise, we're going to be okay, or?
Yes, we should be fine.
Okay. Any other questions? No, I know it's much needed, so we kind of have to do this. Yeah. And hope we can attract 4 very talented and skilled IT folks here in short order. But
yes.
Okay. And we're doing a big search, I'm assuming. You want to talk a little bit about that? I mean, to attract some talent?
We have been searching. We actually, I think it just closed for the IT director, and we're reviewing applications, and the other ones are open, and we are still reviewing applications.
Okay.
So.
Okay, great. All right, then I'll move to approve the amendment to the Cloud IT agreement to expand the city services to include additional support hours and new services as presented, and authorize the city manager to approve additional hours of service as necessary.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion. Councilmember DeWillis seconded it. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember DeWillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Duvernay?
Yes.
Councilmember Karat?
Yes.
Councilmember Naren?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilden?
Yes.
And Mayor Linsky?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
All right, I'll motion to pay the claims and adjustments for May 2nd, 2023.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion. Councilmember Karat seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion. Vice Mayor seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you, Council.